Hello and welcome once more to my channel, Background Health. On today's episode, I'll be discussing a common problem, which is excess salt consumption. Did you know that salt, especially sodium, is a very essential element to the human body? But also, did you know the specific dangerous consequences of excess salt or excess sodium to the human body? And so today I'll discuss what salt is. I'll discuss the normal functions of sodium to the human body. I'll discuss the health consequences of excess salt. I've discussed the different ways we put salt or sodium into our body even when we don't even know it. And then I'll conclude by how we can reduce our salt intake. So please join me as I go through them one by one. Table salt is essentially two elements combined. The first is sodium and the second is chloride. They are combined to be called sodium chloride. Once we consume sodium chloride, they split in the human body. Sodium goes its separate way, chloride goes its separate way. They have different functions in the human body. Henceforth, I'll be focusing on sodium. Sometime during your lifetime, you will undergo blood chemistry tests during which you see so many things listed, one of which is sodium. Normal sodium level should be between 135 to 145. The following are some of the functions of sodium to the human body. I'll go through some of these one by one in greater detail. In the brain, spinal cord, and the nerves, sodium has essential function. In the human brain, it plays crucial in the processing of information, transmission of sensory information, etc. In the heart, it has essential function, which include the pumping of the heart muscle to circulate blood throughout our body. In the muscles, it's essential for contraction of the muscles. So we can see here the muscle function depends heavily on sodium, calcium, and other elements. In the kidneys, sodium has essential role in regulating blood pressure as well as the amount of water we have in our body. Here we can see this in action in the kidneys. Despite all those essential functions, here are some of the health conditions that excess sodium can contribute to or make worse, including hypertension, heart failure, kidney failure, advanced liver failure. I'll go through some of these. Here we see two chest x-rays. This is normal lung. You can see how it looks, how beautiful and clear it is. This is the heart. In this patient who has congestive heart failure, we see all this whitening compared to this place. That's because this person is now in congestive heart failure. The rest of the lung look whiter compared to this here, and you see more white here, and you don't see the borders of the heart on this side. That's because this person has congestive heart failure. Excess sodium will make this condition worse. In this diagram, we see somebody undergoing kidney dialysis because their kidney has failed. Consuming excess sodium in this condition will make this condition worse, cause excess fluid retention. In this diagram, we're looking at not a pregnant woman, but rather a man who has a large belly because of excessive fluid retention in the abdomen because their liver has failed. And you see all these squiggly lines, these are veins that are dilated because the liver has failed. And we see this point here because doctors have been draining fluid through this area by inserting a catheter. Consuming excess sodium will make this condition worse and lead to premature death. Even in people who do not have any of the above conditions, excess sodium or salt consumption will cause this person to have excess fluid retention with swelling as depicted here. Now then that we have seen the good and the bad effect of sodium in the human body, I will now describe the different ways we put sodium into our body in the hope that the information will help us to reduce amount of sodium we put in our body. Adding salt to the food we eat, either during cooking or when we are actually consuming that, is a direct way of adding salt. However, many people also add salt to their body when they season their food with some seasoning such as this bouillon seasoning and others like it. At other instances, doctors deliberately infuse or inject sodium into the human body, like when they give you intravenous fluid here, like drip here in the hospital, or antibiotic or other medication that are mixed in salt water. In some instances where a person is diagnosed with very low sodium, doctors may actually prescribe sodium chloride tablet or salt tablet to help raise their sodium back to normal. In some instances, when we take injections such as vaccinations or doctors flush intravenous fluid, they use what we call saline flushes and inject sodium into our body. With all that in mind, I'll now discuss how we can reduce the amount of sodium we take into our body. Reducing salt or sodium intake starts with reading labels. A lot of food items that are processed, canned food, or bottled food have sodium. Industrialists use sodium to preserve food and increase shelf life. Restaurants use it to enhance taste as well. And so, understanding this process can help us to reduce the sodium intake, but also we have to start looking at labels. Here we see a list of items that may be found in most food pantries. Some of them have very high content of sodium. Some have zero to no sodium at all or zero to low sodium. For instance, the bottled water has zero sodium. The can of milk over here has just a 1% sodium per serving. Fruits and vegetables have very little amount of sodium and therefore more healthy for those who should be on low sodium diet. The vinegar has no sodium. Other items such as this snack here has about 7% sodium per serving, and each serving may only be about 3 to 4 pieces of that. Some other items, such as this curry powder, has up to 8% sodium per serving. Cereal, which we think is generally healthy for us because of the fiber, has up to 8% sodium per serving. Most people will consume about 2 servings for breakfast. That would be about 16% of the required sodium per day. This item is a bouillon seasoning. Most people don't think of it as salt, but in reality, it's actually flavored salt. It's no different from this table salt. So this has about 23% salt per serving, and this about 24% salt per serving. So be aware of that and read it. Other items that we may think of or think less, this baked food, muffin has quite an amount of sodium. This bread here has about 8% sodium per serving, and each serving is only 2 slices. So if you eat 4 slices, you're consuming about 16% of your required daily allowance of sodium. So be aware of that. Another way of reducing our sodium intake is by making healthy alternatives. Here we see a buffet table. Most of these items here has very high sodium content. So instead of eating junk food or restaurant food frequently, we can cook more at home where we can add less salt or use salt substitute. Here, instead of eating a lot of baked goods, which have high amount of sodium, we can do more of our own shopping for vegetable, natural food, prepare our own, which have very low amount of sodium. Instead of drinking a lot of these bottled or canned sodas, which have various amounts of sodium, we can opt for water instead. Finally, instead of adding a lot of salt to our food when eating, we can opt for salt substitutes, which are natural, not spices that are processed in factories. We can find out salt substitute or herbs from our grocery store or health food stores, or we can Google them. So as I conclude, reducing salt or sodium intake is depends on individual choices. We can make healthier choices to help prolong our life, reduce suffering, reduce unwanted health consequences. Thank you for listening. Please share this video to help save life and prolong healthy living. Thank you very much. Until next time.